excited. Meridian has been an incredible week. Man, did you guys catch that guitarist with the roots? My goodness. It was just a great conference. There were just so many great things going on. And I'm just extremely blessed to be able to end it with this very special guest, um, Anthony Barker. So I had the pleasure of, I guess, uncovering him maybe 2 years ago, and looking at what this company Tempo was doing. And for those that may not be aware, we'll definitely go into a lot more detail. But Tempo was a money transfer company out of Europe. And, Anthony has such great history, and not just IT, but banking, and is an incredible resource, an anchor in the figurative and literal sense of the word for the Stellar Network. So, give me one quick second. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a ring, and I'm excited to get this call going. So, give me one quick second here. Let's see if I can get him on. All right, all right, all right. Come on, Anthony. Don't have me waiting here. Let's go. All right, all right. I know it's busy, man. There's a lot of things going on. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hey, Anthony, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, great. Nice
Man,
to
so,
see you again.
hey, man, same here, same here, same here. The last time we met was Meridian last year, actually. So it's like our anniversary.
Exactly.
Hey, so before we really get into everything here, how did you enjoy Meridian? I mean, like I said, we met last year, 2019. So this is your second Meridian, like myself. What was your overall impression?
I mean, I had a little fewer margaritas this time, uh,
We both did.
but considering it was online, it was really well put together, professionally done. Um, the sessions were great. A little bit harder to network and meet people, but I thought it was overall amazing.
Yeah, were there any particular sessions that stuck out to you?
I mean, I was thinking about it before the call, and I really liked a couple that I think a lot of people missed. One was the David Merizieri's. He had a session on this thing called STC. It's like a command line tool. It's like an
Mm-hmm.
ultra geeky tool for everyone who wants to dig right into the guts of Stellar. Love that session. And the other one was Alex Corridiero, Stellar Engineering Technical Roadmap, which for me, it could have been like a keynote because he basically said
Wow.
technically where Stellar was, what they did this year, and what they're going to do next year. It was amazing.
Wow, wow, wow. Good feedback. I definitely will have to go back and look at those. I think the one that you just mentioned was directly after my session, and I think I was still kind of readjusting and doing all the final tweaks. But thankfully, all those sessions are still online. You can go to meridian.stellar.org for all those listening and catch up on those. So,
How,
uh,
how about you? What was your favorite?
Man, what was my favorite? You know what? I really enjoyed listening to all the ones that included, the individuals from the IMF. You had the World Bank. You know what? The one with I don't know if you caught the one with I think it was Kaiva. Do you remember that one? It was the lady with Kaiva, and it was just so inspirational because she was talking about just the power of the human network. And as you know, especially with calls like this, that is something that I'm really passionate about is connecting everybody in this ecosystem. So she really focused in on that, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Great. I'll have to watch that one too.
Yes, yes, yes. So let's talk about yourself, man. First of all, thank you for joining us today. Where are you from originally? It is Stellar
I'm from
Global, so I love to talk about that.
I'm from Toronto, Canada, originally.
Okay.
Um, Grew up in Toronto. Been living in Paris now, in France for about 3 years.
Wow. That sounds nice. Is Paris as beautiful as it sounds?
It's lovely in the summer, and the winter is a little bit gray, but every place has
Okay.
got good and bad. Every place is good
Right.
and bad. I love Toronto too. So,
Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about Toronto. So, as we start off here, why don't you share a little bit about your journey, your professional journey, prior to getting connected with Tempo and blockchain?
so I stumbled into crypto a little bit in a kind of funny way. Like way back, I read a Slashdot article about Bitcoin. Um, I bought some, not much, unfortunately. Uh, Subsequently lost the keys later on.
Uh
But
oh.
and I started, and then when I discovered it was on some exchanges, I never used Mt. Gox, but Poloniex I started using, and I was working at a bank at the time, and they removed my ability to trade, so I couldn't trade like stocks or anything. And then I started trading crypto because it was like the only game in town that was unregulated.
The good old days.
And then
No, that's pretty
I got
cool.
in there, and then around the same time, I was discussing with an old classmate of mine from a school called Thunderbird in Arizona about starting a money transfer company,
Okay.
and and I kept thinking about how to kind of marry crypto and Ripple was starting to come out around then, so I played with Ripple a bit. I liked the idea, but I didn't like that it was controlled by one kind of corporation,
Mm.
and and then Stellar started, and I immediately sort of contacted Jed and said, "This might like if you're focused on money transmission, this sounds like the right tool for the right job,
Wow.
the right tool for the job." Yeah,
Oh, that's pretty neat. So, it's interesting. You were able to just reach out to Jed because that was at the beginning stages. So you got in there early before there were this big 80 team conglomerate, I guess you could call it nowadays.
yeah. I tracked down David and Jed, and I met them. I flew to Shanghai to meet them and started chatting, and we went on shortly afterwards, but there wasn't any anchors. So we had it all set up, but there was really nowhere to send to. So
Wow.
I mean, there was a couple. There was one, I think, in Zimbabwe, but everything was completely kind of crazy. So you couldn't trust anything. So, but yeah, and then and then, I had a discussion with Jed at one point, and or some of the other people from Stellar, because I think it was like then Lisa joined, and there was a few other people who joined shortly thereafter. And then I met Boris. I think he had just joined at a Consensus in New York. Um, and the thing for me was, okay, you can send money on crypto, but that's only one part of the transaction, because with most of these partners we have to send all the KYC information, know your client,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the ID, the name, all the information, and that's a super important part of sending value or sending money. And so I talked to them, and we went through a couple of iterations. We started with this thing called Federation Forward, and then they had a compliance server where we connected into CoinsPH to send money to the Philippines,
Okay.
which was
Yeah. Familiar.
pretty much the first quarter we got going.
Wow.
Um, and then with this compliance server thing, and then we got Flutterwave up and running, and yeah, I mean it's been a real ride.
I think what's so exciting about this sort of conversation, especially for our audience listening, is that you've been there from the very beginning. You've been there from the start, and you've got to see everything grow. So I'm looking to go further into your experience. In regards to blockchain, because you have an IT and banking background, what attracted you the most to blockchain? As far as using it as a business.
Um, I mean, the Swift system, the Swift banking system is kind of broken. I saw that when I was at the bank, and specifically, it's kind of like vested interest. It's a little bit like the music industry before there's iTunes and music sharing and all that kind of stuff, where the guys who control the system don't want to change it, and they're going to
Uh
fight
huh.
tooth and nail to change it. And the only thing that's going to change it will be something kind of revolutionary like blockchain.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So for those that may not be familiar, let's go to Tempo. What is Tempo?
So Tempo is a regulated money transmission company, sort of like like a MoneyGram or RIA or this kind of company. It's not a bank. It doesn't have a full banking license. It's sort of like a banking light license.
Mm-hmm.
So that allows the company to send and receive money on customers' behalf. It's fully regulated, so it's like a 1 year process to get the license, and there's auditors that come and they check the money, and then there's checks to make sure the client's funds are safe and there's no one no one anti-terrorist checks and all that other good stuff that are in place.
Okay. Okay. Um, you and your partner, what did you guys see wrong in the banking FX world that inspired the creation of Tempo? Was it anything in particular?
Well, my friend, my buddy Jeff, who's he had been at RIA, which is probably the second or third largest money transmission company,
Okay.
and I think he saw that there's some opportunities to improve what they had done and improve it specifically in Europe, and so that's why. And I ended up in France is because of him. Wasn't like it's not like there's not money transmission in Canada. There's plenty of that there too. So I came here for him, and the other advantage here is the license. You can get a license in Europe, and it covers all the different countries. So you get one license
Okay.
in France, and it covers 32 countries.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like in the U.S., you have to apply each state by state by state. So you have to go to every state, and you have to post bond. And
We got to change
uh,
that, by the way. We got to change that.
yeah.
Okay, no, that's
So
exciting.
anyway, the first time it seemed really magical. There's two times for me blockchain seemed magical. One time was when we first went live with with Philippines with Coins PH, and I remember vividly because I went over around that time, and I sent myself some money on my phone, and they had a thing where you could pick up the money at any bank machine. They'll
Wow.
send you a PIN number,
Uh huh.
and I got the money from. I converted to lumens. I put it into PHP, and then which is their currency, and I got it in my picked it up from the bank machine by typing in a PIN, and it was like, and Lisa was there, so I said hi to Lisa and Esther. I said,
Hi,
"This is
Lisa Nestor.
amazing."
No, that is amazing. That I spent some time in the music industry for a brief moment, and I can remember the first time when you heard a hit song and you knew it was a hit song, right? It's that
Right.
that magical moment. So that's what I kind of relate to on that end. That sounds like that hit music moment. So you said something that is actually going to help tie into my next question. You mentioned that it went from XLM into the currency. So everyone listening, they always want to know. Even when I posted about this, right? They're like, do they actually use Stellar? Do they, how is XLM used? Can you share that with the audience?
Sure. I mean, XLM is, I mean, it's sort of like if you went through Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, you could go direct between Euro to PHP because we have a Euro token that we issued
Mm-hmm.
a few
Mm-hmm.
years ago. But you could also, sometimes the market is better to go through XLM, and XLM is nice because no one controls it. So there's no counter. With most of the anchors on Stellar, there's this thing called there's a risk that the anchor could take your money,
Mm-hmm.
or they haven't properly backed up their funds, or that there's in most cases, if it's regulated, I don't think there's a case, it's really an issue. But there's always a chance that the company could have an earthquake or your money could disappear. With XLM, The advantage is it's built right into the system, and once you have your XLM, no one can take them from you.
Hmm. Is there any other ways besides just that that you guys utilize the Stellar protocol?
Well, we use the SEPs like SEP 6, SEP 24, and now SEP 31 for passing the client information.
Mm-hmm.
And then our biggest volume right now is no longer to the Philippines, it's going to Africa. So,
Wow.
gallery. And, most of the clients don't know it's going through Stellar. They just come and they're doing a money transfer and they just want to send money to a bank account in Nigeria. And it's there. It's a little bit magical. It's there within a minute.
Wow.
They come in with cash a lot of the time. Cash is counted. And as soon as the person hits, it's pretty much available. Then, like normally about 3 minutes, it's available.
That is insane. I can't even do that in the States, by the way. If I
No, I know.
I can't even do that. So,
You can't
you
send
know,
your cousin in 3 minutes, but someone in France who's got cash can send to Nigeria in 3 minutes.
right. That's amazing. I mean, it's crazy to me that I can have let's say a Cash App here in the States, right? And or let's say even this PayPal and Venmo, they're the same company. If I have a PayPal account, I can't just send it to you with a Venmo account, and you can instantly get it. And then if you want it from your bank account, it's a whole nother process I don't want to go into. But that is amazing. A lot of people, a lot of times I still get this sometimes, on my threads where they ask, is Stellar being used right now? And that's a perfect example of somebody going into a store with cash, having no idea they're using, blockchain, not having to worry about no secret keys, none of that stuff,
No,
none of that. And in
I
three
mean they
minutes,
can. They
if they want
can.
to,
They can.
right?
They want, but they don't have to.
They don't have to. Real brief. On your website, I saw that there was a Visa Mastercard logo on the site. Do you guys offer the ability to transfer crypto with payments, or is that something in the works?
So we've been looking at that for a while. Right now, it's mostly on the cash in. So you can buy if you need to. So again, someone come to the store. About 40% of the people don't have cash. They'll actually pay with a card. A lot of
Okay.
people still don't want to go online, even with COVID. They'll come to the
Hmm.
store. They feel more secure. It's a lot of the customers, they feel a little bit insecure going online, like they can lose their money. So they come
Mm-hmm.
to the store and use their card.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. And once again, it's great that Stellar allows that flexibility in many ways. So, kind of, going back and touching on the point that, you have a first-hand knowledge. And I remember from some previous discussions, and you mentioned briefly that you've looked at a lot of different, blockchains. You've even talked directly with some of the folks with Ethereum. So I was just curious to learn from you how Stellar compares to these other top platforms.
I mean, I knew Vitalik when I was in Toronto because I was sort of into crypto. So he would be always in the meetups. Brilliant guy. And I even talked to him and a couple of the other like core Ethereum people way back in the day. And it's like, I'm doing this money transmission thing. And my belief is it's again, you don't hit a nail with a screwdriver, right? Use a
Mm-hmm.
hammer. It's not that one's better than the other. It's just a different tool.
Right.
Um, and Jed was very focused on money transmission as the core protocol. Yeah, I mean, you can issue different assets like in theory you could create crypto kitties or something like that on Stellar, but for me the use case was remittance, and they were very focused on adding functionality for that use case. So that was sort of the thing that led me to Stellar. I also really like the DEX. So I had been doing trading, and I love the idea of an exchange, which I guess most of your listeners must know what the DEX is, but it's
You'll be
something built on the
surprised.
Stellar that
No,
you
you'd be
can buy
surprised.
and
Many
sell.
don't. Yeah, money,
Yeah.
money, many don't realize that. So go ahead, talk about the decks a little bit.
So, I mean, people get confused between the DEX and like Stellar Term or Stellar Port and Stellar X. Stellar, all these are front ends to the back end of Stellar. So Stellar is distributed. And so the concept of having an exchange, which is not just on one server, it's on many, many servers and no one controls it. And so no one can really cheat you in a way. One
Hmm.
of the issues that used to be with some of these Chinese exchanges is you didn't really know what was happening behind the scenes. I wrote an article like 2017 that cool thing about these decks is they're fair, they're provably fair. There's no one
Hmm.
that some guys might have a server closer to you, but it's really hard to front like stuff that happens on the stock exchange is really hard to do in Stellar. So you when you trade on there, you got equal access to the big guys.
Wow.
For me, that's amazing. And anyway, so you can use all these front ends. You can even use, I think, Lobster and Satoshi Pay. I think have added a way of doing trading now. But and you can interact with people. It could be a company like Tempo. We've got orders again. There'll be a Nigerian NGNT against Euro
Hmm.
T. So if
Hmm.
you go on there and you see a bunch of orders, some of them might be from a person, like an individual wanted to send money to a Nigerian, just wanted to try and get a better rate, so they could buy some Euro T and stick it on there and try and get a better rate by so-called providing liquidity. So they'd get maybe 5% better or 2% better exchange rate. Could be a company like JST, which spoke about exchanges. They're
Yes.
trading on the Stellar DEX. Or it could be a company like Tempo, where we just need to buy some NGNT because we have clients who are coming upstairs or coming in the store and just want to send money to Nigeria, and we'll put some orders on the DEX to try and buy some NGNT to send money to help the client send money. And we normally, because the people want the money there within 3 seconds, and we don't know what the rate is, we'll pre-buy a bit. We'll have a little bit in stock, so when the client
Okay.
comes in, we know that we don't have to do a payment, and the price might be different. So we normally have a pre-buy, and we've got some in stock.
Nice. I mean, so you definitely showed a lot of the advantages of the Stellar decks. What would you say are some of maybe the disadvantages of the decks?
So um, so the one thing I lost some money on way early back was we had our euro token on the system. I don't remember. Were you involved in Stellar when it went shooting up to like 80 cents or seventy
Yeah,
cents?
yeah. I
Yeah.
remember
Okay.
that.
So we had some orders out there, and it dropped really quick. And I think what people saw was on the central exchanges like a Binance or a Kraken, the price is dropping.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so what they did was they go and we couldn't pull our orders fast enough. So we ended
Oh
up,
man.
that there's a 5 second block time. We kind of ended up selling at a price that was just a bit disadvantageous.
Mm. So that could be the downside because you have full control of everything. So that could be
Got full
the
control.
downside. So I mean, kind of going further onto the decks, where do you see the possibilities of the Stellar decks taking us in the future?
I'm super excited about the discussion of the side chain. Um,
Yes, that was an exciting conversation.
the way they seem to be structuring it, it was originally going to be Lightning. I spoke to Jed, I think last year, and he said it might be Lightning,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Bitcoin Lightning. But now it looks like they're extending it to cover some sort of smart contract language or something that we could use to make our own kind of exchange or our own system,
Okay.
which for me is pretty cool.
Wow. Going back on the deck because to me it's an exciting concept. Talking about something you mentioned earlier in regards to with the decks you have the ability and the access capabilities that someone on Wall Street may have. Can you describe just I guess a trading scenario that's possible through a dex that's not possible in traditional means?
in traditional means. Well, I mean, it's this decentralization. So, somebody in the sheep example, I think you tweeted it that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, you could have a sheep in your country, and I could have some euro tokens or some Anchor USD dollars, and I could buy that sheep from you,
Just like that. That's
just
like
like
that.
that.
Anything
And
that anything
no
that has
bread
value.
and no exchange and nothing, nothing in the middle there. It's just between you and me.
You could even have a Anthony Barker token, and I could decide, you know what, man, that he's worth some money. I'll sell you some of my gold pieces for some Anthony Barker tokens and go buy a house.
Yeah, I remember we had a meetup in Toronto, and I think Jed and some people from Lightyear were there. It was a couple
Mm-hmm.
years ago, and I invited all the guys from our trading area at the bank I was working at, and I explained the concept of path payments to them. And path payments for me, if your audience doesn't know, is basically a way to look at the Stellar Dex. And with the normal stock exchange, you'd buy, like, if you want to buy Google shares, you're buying it for dollars. And so if you have Google and you suddenly wanted Facebook, you sell your Google shares, you get your dollars, and then you go back to Facebook. So you basically got two trades, right?
Right.
Out of Google into dollars, back to Facebook. But with Stellar, in theory, you could go Google directly to Facebook, or maybe Google trades really closely to, I don't know, ExxonMobil, some weird companies. Okay, I'm going to go through ExxonMobil because it's going to save me some cents. I can go
Mm-hmm.
out to Facebook. That's path payments. And then you think about what's the next step? Okay, I can have Google shares, with somebody like DStock. I can have my shares in my wallet. I go to the store, tap my phone, and it's automatically converted those Google shares to pay for my coffee.
How far away are we from that happening? That is exciting.
That for me is like, that's the mind blower. If
Right.
we can get there,
Right.
yeah, that's the nirvana.
That is the nirvana. I mean, could you imagine that? That would change everything. Everything.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I mean, is there a larger benefit to the Stellar ecosystem by having a strong trading, Stellar Dex? Is there other benefits besides somebody not who's not trading?
I mean, I think the guys from on the trading panel brought up the issues around the DEX right now. One of the issues is it's hard to it's kind of a chicken and egg scenario where if there's not a lot of people trading, then there's not a lot of people sending orders in, and other people don't come. It's sort of like you go to a
Right.
party, no one's there. No one wants to be the first people at the party.
Right. 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 Good point. Good point. Good point. Good point.
So the trick is to get the fake lineup at the party, so everyone wants to come in.
And I did that, by
And
the way. In my music days, we did that. We had the line. We had all our friends staying outside and look good, and we'll just keep it closed for an hour. It worked though, man. It worked.
yeah, I feel a little bit. I don't know if you've been watching Uniswap, but they got the volume. They earlier this year was nothing, and then they just went kaboom. They managed to get the liquidity by giving incentives to people to post their money in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm hoping with Stellar, especially with this the new technology, we can experiment with different incentives to get people to have who have EuroT or something like that to put an order in the book, or who have NGNT in their wallet.
Uh huh.
Uh, and then the other thing is with Kelp and um, and then I don't know if you saw Papaya Bot. They've got like an automated trading bot kind of thing. But things like this, and I'm working on another side project for something like this as well. It's like some sort of incentive, so you don't have to watch your orders all day. So
Right.
you don't have to
Right.
be like an
Right.
expert. So then you can make some money just by posting orders into the order book, which is what Uniswap does. Basically, you put your Ethereum or your wrapped Bitcoin into Uniswap, and you get some money automatically.
Hmm. That sounds interesting. That sounds interesting. I know that, over the past couple of days when Radian, me and you have been chatting, because I agree with you. And I see exactly what you're describing, that, if there are people out there like myself who are investors or traders, professionally, and understand risk and understand those different things. How do we create a community where we can, bring those like-minded individuals together to be active in this, to help to grow? And it's a win-win situation. We can kind of help to create liquidity for the DEX, and there's opportunity for profit. um you've
No
been
question.
involved with some, yeah, you've been involved with some active communities. Can you share, because I know, as we've been talking, you've been involved from day one. What are some of the communities you've been involved with, and what can we do to help to grow it?
I mean, for me, Stellar's got all the technology. They got some of the smartest people, David from Stanford. They've got some guys from MIT. They've got all the smartest people. But the community, like you said, it's growing. It's still kind of in its infancy compared to maybe some of the other communities like Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Hmm.
Um, and I think people like you are doing a great job. I'll be honest.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
and I think Stellar, by setting up Meridian and having meetups and community events and online meetups, I've been in a couple. I think that's a great step.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know how you got involved in crypto, but I think a lot of it is word of mouth. It's very grassroots.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, I think that what we're talking about too is, almost like stage two. And so you have people that I think right now that are entering, especially with the Stellar community. Like, I agree that it's in its infancy. Is It's more so a curiosity. I noticed that during the sessions there was like a little chat room on the side, and it was filled with a lot of people who've never even looked into Stellar, asking tons of questions of what is this, how does it work. I know from even my posts, I get a lot of the same questions. A lot of people that really still, despite, by the way, all the great information that's on the website. Like you said, it's great information on the website, smart people involved that are still confused as to what it is. And so, I think that maybe the next step is educating, right? Is educating, and even, and I guess it's like a combination, right? If we can, right now, I know that there's a lot of folks that are interested in the Stellar decks. If we can kind of curate those individuals and help them to get started using it, testing it out, that word of mouth would start to spread. And and I think too is that, one thing that I've seen in the crypto community, and you might have seen as well, is, the when a lot of people talk about investing or trading, a lot of people don't really know what they're doing, right? It's not like, let's say, in some of the other, let's be honest, right? It's not like some of the other more strategic arenas. And so I do think that it's going to take a lot of education to try to curate those people, and to show the professionals out there that have experience that there's an opportunity, a real opportunity, to get involved.
Right, I agree.
So maybe that's something that we could work on, if you're up to it. Maybe we can get together and really leverage your experience and your knowledge, and see what we can do. Maybe we can create some webinars. If you're up to it, I mean, I need
I'm
your
completely
help.
up for it. I mean, I created a Reddit group called XLM, and it's a lot of newbies, and they're all just like, "What's the price? Pump or dump?"
Yeah. Right, 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 right.
And I mean, Stellar is very quiet about pumping the price. They're very, very careful. Um, but the technology is great. So sometimes I feel that it doesn't get the credit, it doesn't get the credit it deserves as an ecosystem and as a platform.
Yes, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. And so maybe what we can do is, you're like I think we're saying the same things, that let's evolve out of the pump and dump type of mentality, and accept the fact that there are a lot of assets that are capable, on the platform, and maybe we can, maybe start off with some virtual meetups. That might be a good idea. Do some virtual meetups. We could even do a live, do some virtual meetups, and allow people to learn, some basic strategies.
Sounds good. And I mean, the thing for me is it's always good to have, in Toronto, there's a lot of cities have got good meetups, but it's always good to have also even having someone speak. So you have
Uh huh.
a 10, 20 minutes, someone speak about a topic, and then it's open and then we can talk about anything.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll do that. Before we wrap up, what's next for Tempo? Let's finish off on that. What's next for Tempo?
There's a wallet that's been launched that directly integrates into Stellar.
All
And
right.
exposes some of the payment corridors. Um, and we're working hard to onboard, work with this, the Stellar team to onboard other anchors
Yeah, that's a
and
big one.
token. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a big one. Hopefully, we can chat some more afterwards. Because I agree. I'm really passionate as an entrepreneur to see more anchors, because more anchors means more corridors that you can build businesses in. So maybe that's something we could chat about too afterwards, and figure out how we can do our part to try to grow that network.
sounds good.
All right, man. Well, look, Anthony, I appreciate you. I know you're a busy man. I really do appreciate you taking the time to enlighten all of our listenings on not only what Tempo's doing, but they get a chance to realize who such an incredible individual you've been behind the scenes. Someone that I've been aware of, and I'm glad that everybody else is able to see that too. And we got some work to do. We got a whole new topic as far as trading on the Stellar Dex that we get to have some fun with. So I appreciate you on that. Thanks for taking the call.
It's going to be fun. Take care,
It's
Sam.
gonna be
Thanks for the
fun.
call.
All right, all right. Take care, guys. Hey, thanks for checking in.